Did you ever go to a meeting and at the end of that meeting say to yourself, boy, there's 90 minutes that I'll never get back in my life? Well, if that's the case, stay tuned. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, we lead, and we inspire. And one of the realities of life is that there's going to be meetings, that there's going to be planning, or is there? How many times have you gone to a meeting and just said to yourself, please, for the love of whatever, get me the heck out of here. This is such a waste of my time. Meetings, whether it's if you're coaching a basketball team, or you're having the big family Thanksgiving dinner, or if it's a business meeting, the principles are always the same. And too often, people running the meeting don't know what the heck that they're doing. You know, one of my business associates, when I was back in the insurance business, he worked out of the home office. I was the manager of San Diego, and then I was the manager of the Midwest with Detroit and Indianapolis. You know, he and I would talk every once in a while. Really great guy named Steve Lounsbury. And so I say, Steve, how's it going? And he would say, meetings are up, production is down. All right. Think about that for a minute. Meetings are up, production is down. We got to solve this. So let's talk about meetings, because if you're going to run any kind of an organization, you got to be able to run a good meeting. All right? And I'm basing this on an article that I read. I was inspired by an article by a gentleman named Jack Wilder on meetings. He starts off by saying, good luck is when opportunity meets preparation, while bad luck is when lack of preparation meets reality. Now, you recall that in one of the meetings I was talking about was the big family dinner for Thanksgiving. Now, back in the day when I was a puppy, we would all go to my grandmother's house for Thanksgiving. Boy, sounds like a song, right? Over to Granny's house we go, all right, for the Thanksgiving. And everybody would bring a separate dish, all right? My mom, she would cook a couple of pies. Somebody else would make this, and somebody else would make that, and whatever. And then everybody put this stuff together, and we would have a tremendously outstanding Thanksgiving dinner. And I'll bet a lot of families do that. But you have to have some preparation. You have to know what's expected, all right? The goal of a meeting shouldn't be just to meet. It needs to serve a purpose. Now, when I'm having a basketball practice, my players know, hey, we're here to practice, we're here to prepare for our next opponent, we're here to work on skills, so I need to be prepared, which means socks, sneakers, I need to be taped, I need to be loose, I need to be warmed up, ready for the meeting. And for that to happen, that purpose needs to be known, and people need to be prepared. Same thing is true in business. Most meetings fall into three categories. They're either trying to share information, like when we as managers would go to the home office of the big insurance company. We weren't there to necessarily give a lot of input. They had a new product. They were there to share information with us. So they're either there to share information or to gather input for a decision or to make a decision. Those are the three purposes of a meeting. Now, people don't know which of these actions is the purpose. It's unlikely to end well. Without an agenda, discussions lack structure and rarely result in the intended outcome. Without pre-work, people show up unprepared and everyone's on a different page. This doesn't need to be exhaustive. A list of questions to consider in advance will help people gather their thoughts and mentally prepare their arguments. Show people that you're not content to simply show up and hope for some serendipitous success. You expect to actively contribute, and in order to do that, you need to be prepared. Okay, let's talk a little more about meetings. Okay, now, when I first started working for the library several years ago, arbitrarily, I was chosen to run a particular meeting. Now, having had a lot of experience in that area, I sent out to everybody, this is what we want to talk about, here are the questions we want to answer, and so be prepared, do some thinking before you come and sit down. Well, I was low person on the totem pole at that point, and one of the people that was a supervisor came up to me and she said, that was the best meeting that I've ever been to at this library. And I said, really? What made it so good? And she said, because everybody came with a loaded gun. They knew generally what we were going to talk about, and they had general ideas. Now, I want you to keep in mind that the best ideas tend to come from the rank and file people, the people that are on the front lines, not the people that are sitting in the penthouse. Most of the best innovative ideas come from the front lines. So if you want to get that kind of input, give them something to think about. Too many times you have a meeting, and I've been to meetings, this is why the lady said this at the library, where they said, okay, we're looking for your input. Here's the situation, go in separate groups and give some input. Okay, well, you're asking us to do something in 5 minutes that obviously you've been working on for a long time. We're the rank and file. Come on, you expect us to come up with something in 2 seconds that you've been working on for days and haven't been able to find a solution? Come on now, wake up, smell the coffee. All right, now if you're running a meeting, promote discussion from unseen talent. In teamwork, silence isn't golden, it's deadly. Studies show that people have trouble distinguishing between experts and the loudest voice in the room. In these situations, it's easy for the loudmouth coworker to monopolize everybody's time, even though that person has no idea what he's talking about. When you get the sense that someone is preventing others from offering their own perspectives, jump in and ask for their thoughts. Make it clear that you're interested in their ideas and there's no wrong answer. The more that you show people you value diverse ideas, the more likely they'll contribute them. You don't need to be running the meeting, though, to encourage someone new to participate. All it takes is a willingness to listen and the awareness to recognize who's not speaking up. The more you can encourage others to participate, the better off the organization becomes. And there's no one more critical than the person who can bring out the best in other people. You don't have to have the ideas, but if you can bring out those ideas, that makes you a valuable person. And also what's key with the meeting is that there be some follow-up to the meeting. So many times you hear stuff and then nothing gets done. It's completely forgotten. You can't do that. Without knowledge, action is useless. And knowledge without action is futile. All right? How often do you find yourself in a meeting discussing the same problem as the last meeting that you had? It's like a vicious circle of ineffectiveness where everyone talks about the problem, yet no one actually does anything to solve it. Not only does that waste time, but it also normalizes inaction. Soon, people begin to associate talking with doing, even though the two are very, very different. When you begin to see things devolving into this cycle, interrupt it with 4 simple words. And they are, what's the next action? Ask people for the next action. Asking them for the next action pulls them out of their hypothetical world and forces them to confront reality. It takes responsibility away from the team and orients it with one person. Few things drive accountability like putting someone's name down next to an action. So insist on names, actions, and dates for every follow-up action. Nothing happens without names, actions, and dates, also known as individual responsibility. That's what makes a meeting productive. Don't just wing it. Come prepared, get information from everybody, get the people that aren't talking to talk. They have good ideas also. Remember, the best ideas come from the rank and file, and not from the penthouse. And always remember, when running a meeting or anything else, don't ration the passion, fashion the passion. I'm Eli's dad.